Bilge tank. We'll keep you in the know in the big Bilge tank. We'll fix your techie woes and we'll break things and we'll make things so we're all together raking and we'll raise a cup of grog down in the big Bilge tank. In the big Bilge tank. Come and join our pirate crew in the big Bilge tank. We will show you what to do. And we'll hack it till we crack it and we'll tell the world about it and forget to tidy up. That's why it's now a Bilge tank.
Hello. Morning, Phil.
Oh, I'm still looking at the credits down here. And
That's because there's a delay on it. See? So, hello and welcome to Bilge Tank, which is either 127 or 128, depending on what we've done with it.
Let's call it 128 anyway, it's a nice round number.
I think it's 127, but okay, go on then.
BC number.
So,
it's a bit of a...
we haven't been on for ages and ages, have we? So we're feeling a little bit like, and we found that lots of things weren't plugged in anymore, and we had to plug them in, and then things needed updates, and we had to sit there.
On fire and just generally.
That was just you. But yes, but now everything is theoretically working, and you'll tell us very quickly in the chat.
We've got an echo back, apparently.
Have we?
There was
Marvellous.
no surprise because all the soft furnishing stuff that was stacked around has all been moved into now effectively a big empty, featureless room again.
Yeah.
Breeze block room.
Where did the phone go? Let's just each stand here with a phone in front of us.
I don't know where the phone went, actually.
We just need duvets just everywhere, just hung on the walls all the way around.
I'm totally up for a duvet. We should just sit here just in case them. Because it's really cold in here as well. There's no heating in here. So we're sacrificing a great deal.
At the back of the building, isn't it?
So we have lots of new shinies, don't we?
Yes, let's get to the point.
Yeah.
We have lots of new things to show you, so we're going to show you all the new things.
We're going to do science.
Sandy's going to do some science. We were going to have a special guest.
The
hello.
other thing is the microphone's been pitch shifted lower by
the sample rate's wrong, is it?
Smooth.
Do I sound like Barry White?
I don't think there's anything we can do about that.
Walrus.
Can we not it'll bring it on the stream?
Maybe we just talk in very high voices, and then it'll come across absolutely fine.
We need helium.
I don't even know I can do that.
You don't need helium, I can just kick you, it'll be fine. Okay. But yeah, so we were going to have our friend Nate come in and do some science with us, but he's poorly. So hello Nate, get well soon. And we've substituted a pumpkin left over from Halloween. So this is Pumpkin Nate. The cabbage does not have a name because the cabbage is just cabbage.
Call it Babbage the cabbage.
Babbage the cabbage. Actually, no, that's really harsh because we're going to do things to Babbage the cabbage.
Well,
anyway,
cool. New things.
New things. Should we start with new things? Okay, let me bring up the product to it. Can I start with the big shiny thing?
Yeah, we'll do the.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Phil, will you do the honours on the putting the tablet in the place?
Tablet.
Yeah.
Oh, shall we put it there?
That'll do. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Oh yeah.
Can we get the close up as well? You want to show us?
You don't want to be looking at us basically. You want to be looking at the things.
Okay.
There we go.
There. No, there.
No. Big.
Well, there's a way of getting the cut out.
That's fine. Down a bit, Sandy. Down a bit. No.
I'm showing the detail.
Oh.
So this is a gigantic Ubercorn hat HD, and it's called Ubercorn. So it's a 16 by 16 LED RGB matrix. Basically just big pixels in the same layout as Unicorn
The
Hat
pixels
HD.
are the same size as Unicorn Hat HD, aren't they?
No, they're about the same size as blinked or mobed pixels.
Oh no, because Unicorn Hat HD is about the same size as Unicorn Hat.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
These are just regular RGB pixels, and the same as Unicorn Hat HD. So each pixel has 3 different wires, one for each of the red, green and blue elements in the pixel coming into it, and they're all routed separately, and there's a little ARM chip on there that's doing all the hard work, basically just kind of like taking serial data and then spitting out the correct commands to all of the pixels to light up in whatever colour.
Taking some of the strain.
As well.
And it's got this incredible artwork on it that Paul and Lydia did. It was kind of, I think it was Paul's idea, and Paul kind of like did the initial work on it and then gave it to Lydia, and Lydia did ridiculous things like putting this little critter that's waiting for the Portaloo. It's meant to be like a music festival, in case you didn't realise, with their legs crossed. And
doing the dance.
There's the little parent and child holding hands, and just lovely little details, little campfires.
I think we should leave it to them and see what they can spot on. It's like Where's Wally, but
and then
like,
a kind of set list as well. It's quite cool. So basically, just plug a Pi on the back. It works with the Unicorn Hat HD library, and you can also chain them together. That's the other thing. So we're going to be selling these cables. We've got two different lengths. We've got a short one for basically just kind of jumping between adjacent panels, and then we've got a longer one if you have to kind of jump them from the top of the bottom of one to the top of another one. And you can chain together up to 6, I believe.
Up to
8. If you look at the switches on the back, those switches set the address, the little dip switches.
Yep.
So you've got addresses 0 to 7, so that would mean 8 of them.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there we are.
So yeah, they're basically just binary numbers for the addresses.
Yeah.
If you're chaining them together, you can use one powered from the Pi itself to power the LEDs on the panel. You can just about get away with chaining 2 together and running them both off the Pi power supply if it's a 2.5 amp power supply.
Yeah.
If you have any more than that, then you have to power each one separately. Basically, just connect a 5-volt power supply to each panel.
So those are the screw terminals there, but nothing bigger than 5 watts. Volts. Words like I can't do words. It's been that long since we did Bilge tank.
5 powers.
5 powers. Sorry, I've thrown you now, haven't I?
Yeah. So and if you have like a really beefy power supply with a high wattage, then you could conceivably squirt it into one panel and then daisy chain
all the way along.
One of these cables will also be selling, so we'll be selling a pack that has a short cable, a long cable, and a power cable, or some other kind of combination of them. And you can basically just if you have a big power supply on one panel, you can daisy chain that to the other panels.
Heavy duty.
So software-wise, it's the same as Unicorn Hat or Unicorn Hat HD.
HD, yeah, same library.
Same library.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you have multiple panels, then you basically just tell it what the kind of
what the dimensions are.
What number of panels are.
Configuration and orientation thing is basically.
Yeah. And then it just treats the whole thing as like a big matrix. So rather than being 0 to 15, it's like 0 to 31 or whatever. So yeah, that's very cool.
Les was asking how many amps does one panel draw, and that is about 1 amp for one panel.
Yep.
So that makes the maths really easy, if you can remember what the units are, unlike me. So I think that was all the questions that people have asked about them that we've answered.
There's been a couple of people that have made really... we'll go back to the main camera now.
Yeah.
There's been a few people that have made some really nice frames for Ubercorn. And so there was one a couple of days ago, I think it was...
Would you let me to find it? We'll come back to it.
Yeah, I don't want to get the name wrong. But basically, an IKEA Ribba frame, I think it is. They're kind of like cheap. I think they're about £2.50 or something like that. Kind of like square frames, just slightly bigger than this. And he 3D printed a grid, like a pixel grid, to go over the top of it.
Yeah.
And then just got a sheet of paper on the front of the frame. And the light kind of went down the little channel formed by the 3D printed grid, and then diffused through the paper. And it's kind of like a DIY version of a thing called the something like Pixel Frame. I can't remember the exact name of it. But it's like a commercial version of it, yeah.
If Phil gets the screen up on that one, there we are.
Here we go.
Is that the one?
Game Frame, that's the one, yeah. So yeah, you can see it there.
There's a link to that tweet on our Twitter. If you scroll back a little bit, you should be able to find that and click through on the link to find how John is his name. John made it. Is that a Scottish name?
Yeah, McCabe.
It says Belfast.
Well,
anyway.
Celtic, we'll say
Celtic. Good Celtic name.
We're all friends.
So, okay, cool.
Yep, so that's Ubercorn. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, and if you want to make a big scrolling display, then you can put it alongside.
Make a giant one. You can make a ceiling full of disco lights and just that.
Doner kebab. So I want to get like 4 set up and just roll
phone repair shop.
Doner, yeah, mobile phone repair. Yeah.
You know they can never find our place when they're delivering like lunches and stuff. We should just set up a scrolling one that says "Bring me food, bring me food." They'd still
burritos here.
Burritos. Not a burrito in ages. Anyway, sorry. So, Inky what? Yep, I have the page.
What?
So do you want to show it first? And we'll have a little talk about it. So this is basically a massive version of the Inky Hat, isn't it?
Fat.
Inky Fat. Yep. Oh yes, because it's fat. So we just skipped hat then, haven't we?
It's got 5 times the number of pixels, I believe.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. That's 400
by 300.
4.2, 4.1, about 4 inches diagonal.
Here, Sharpie for scale.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, 400 by 300, so it's kind of significantly bigger than Inky Fat. I think I've got one in here.
So, is it W hat or what?
It's whatever you want, really. It's W hat, it's what, it's what. It's
say whack because it means you're fat.
Whack. Inky whack.
Hat, whack, fat.
Oh, it looks like it's had a baby.
There you go. So it's way bigger.
It's definitely big enough for calendars, events, and lists and things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Maybe even a tiny book reader.
Tiny books.
So we've got there's a few examples that I did. So there is. Let's do this one.
What's that? Run your code.
So anyway, if you want to know any more about how the ink works in the Inky hat or what or that, we have got a blog post on it, but Sandy's about to update it for exciting new things. Clicking your fingers is optional and probably really annoys people who are listening to the sound.
So you can tell us the science behind this. You did a blog post on it.
I did do a blog post.
What's happening?
It's a series of pushes and pulls using electrical fields. There we go. He's literally put wallpaper on it, hasn't he? Literal actual wallpaper. I think my nan had something like that. I'm sorry if it was meant to be like very
No, it's just a pattern.
Yeah, it looks much better in real life. It's about like 50 centimetres away from me, and I'm
this one's quite nice.
It looks great.
So this example is basically taking an RGB image and then kind of like downsampling all of the colours to basically just red, black, and white. So it's kind of mapping all of the kind of like full colour image down to 3 colours. So that, this one looks really good. And it works really nicely for kind of simple patterns that have got like, 2 or 3 dominant colours. If you were to get something like a landscape photo or something like that, then it's probably not going to look quite as good because you have many more different shades in that image. But for something like this, it looks really good.
That's pretty nice. I like that one.
Yeah.
So, if we just, while you're changing that one over, can we go back to the surface? So, hopefully, the GIF has stopped loading because it's doing it just to spite me. So, if you go to the Primrony blog, which if you're on like any of the Primrony pages up here, the bit that says blog, you can find some explanations of how the science behind some of that things works. So, that one has decided it's not there. Oh, there we go. There we go. So it's all a series of pushes and pulls with all the different little particles of ink inside there. But if you want to read more, there's an awful lot more detail on there on the blog. So try and find that one. Inky fat and e-paper.
So much detail.
So much detail. I think, yeah, I just cannibalised everything to show how things work. Right, Sandy is busy changing over the equipment because we're going to go on to yet another new product. Oh, well, Sandy's changing over things, and you're very lucky that you did not see that happen. Okay, we're going over to the Breakout Garden.
Yeah, back to main camera.
The Breakout Garden was.
Yeah. Can do picture in picture.
You can do picture in picture.
Picture of which two things?
This one.
That. Okay.
Yeah.
And the down camera.
Figure that out.
Main camera and surface. Close enough.
Well.
That's the one.
That's one of them.
Can we go to Breakout Garden Fat if you've got that page up?
Yeah, sorry, I was too busy looking at the big screen and I've lost where I was.
It's fine, leave it, Phil.
Stop it. So we had the Breakout Garden hat, which was a full-size one, which covered everything, and then we decided to make a smaller one. So instead of having the 6 little places to put your breakouts, it's now got 3. So it's very small.
Of course, it's called Fat.
Well, it's little. Pico hat.
Or big hat.
So the W in the hat stands for wide, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's bigger than the pie. Okay, so 3 slots. So Sandy's using these to put in. Are you going to put 3 sensors in? 3 breakouts?
I'm trying to put one in.
Put one in for now.
To begin with. We can actually look at another new product if we go to close-up camera. Close up. No.
Wrong one, Phil.
Oh, that's cool.
You had one job, Phil.
So
I don't know how I did that, but I'll take it.
So the nice thing about our breakouts is that, and about Breakout Garden, is that it's regular breakout that you can solder pins onto, just like any other breakout. But Breakout Garden has these slots that are similar to like edge connectors on like old-fashioned things like games consoles and whatnot, and they're basically just like kind of spring clips inside. But the pitch on the clips is the same as the pitch on a breadboard and on a regular breakout.
0.1 inch.
And all of our breakouts so far are I2C, which is basically a protocol where all of the devices have addresses, and you can talk between each device specifically by using its address, which is like someone's name, basically, like calling someone a
I feel
name.
a blog post coming on.
Yeah.
I feel a blog post for that one coming on. We can do more detail there.
Anyway,
But
so
yes.
the nice thing is they just slot in like that, and there's no soldering, there's no hassle. They just plug in.
So to kind of build your own fat, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you can kind of like combine different ones together.
Okay, the one on the left we've seen before, the one in the middle is a new one, isn't it? And the one on the right... looking under your thumb.
They're all new ones since we've done Bilge. So
goodness, we haven't done one for that long.
These two got released together. So this is a proximity and light sensor. So that's the same kind of thing you would get your mobile phone next to the camera, so that when you put it to your head, it disables the touchscreen, so you don't give accidentally.
So you don't dial your one with your ear.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So it's very kind of short range. I think up to about 10 centimeters reliably. The light sensor's obviously much more.
Handy me.
Light sensor's much more kind of like operates over a bigger range because it's just light. The proximity sensor's very short range.
So it's got both of them on there.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So you can use it as kind of like, you could swipe your finger over it and it would do a thing, turn the light on or whatever.
Yeah.
The one in the middle is a really cool one. It's a spectrometer. So spectrometers detect wavelengths of light, or different colours if you like. So this one detects 6 different wavelengths of light.
It's basically the rainbow that we can see, isn't it? It's the visible.
Yeah, it's the rainbow minus indigo. So it's red, green, blue,
Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet.
Yeah, what
Gap.
says.
Okay.
And it gives you a reading for each of those different colours.
Excellent.
So
that's we're going to do an experiment with that later.
So it's like a really, really accurate colour sensor, basically. Most colour sensors only do RGB.
Finally, a colour sensor that can tell the difference between a banana and an orange.
And if my maths was any good, if my maths was any good, I could calculate how many more colours it could detect from 6 channels.
From those combinations.
3, but I don't know. Someone will do the maths.
Later.
And then this channel has trouble disambiguating yellow things from green things and red things because the way colour works.
Hence the banana.
Frustrating.
Errors. Cool.
And the BMP 280, we just released this a couple of days ago, is a temperature, pressure and altitude sensor. And it's really cheap, which is the nice thing about it. We've got the BME 680, which has temperature, pressure, humidity and gas. And it's fairly expensive because it's such a sophisticated sensor. But this one's kind of like, really simple, just temperature.
This is the one we put on EnviroFat and EnviroBit. That's the one. So yeah, this is it's a nice little sensor, and it's £7.50, I think. And rubber hat as well.
£7.50, and the light and proximity one is also £7.50, and the spectrometer one is £17.50 because it can do a lot.
It's fancy.
It's fancy. Did you talk about the extenders?
No, yeah. I was gonna. Can we do a demo of the pressure sensor? Because I've got a cool little demo.
Yeah. So it's this. No, not that one. It's the other one.
Get the terminal up on the tablet.
Okay.
Please.
So this one we're using, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, is this why you needed
this one? This is why we needed a terminal. I can't remember which bit is on this thing. There we go. Terminal.
That one. Cool. Right. Okay. So I'm going to put the sensor on the floor for this, and it'll become apparent why in a minute.
You've been busy being a programmer.
Is that supposed to be an
P.
Live typing? Everybody loves it when you're typing for that. Anyway.
Remember myself what it's called? Relative altitude. Okay.
So altitude is the height above sea level, or the height above anything as your baseline? Okay.
Well, not in this case. So if you see, it's called relative altitude, this one. So basically things like planes, and you know all about this, use air pressure to calculate their altitude.
Yeah.
Because the pressure changes as you change altitude.
The higher up you get, the more spread apart all the areas, which means it's lower pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you have, the ideal thing is if you have a reading for air pressure at sea level, then you could take a reading of the air pressure at another place at different altitude, and then use the difference in pressure between those two places to calculate altitude.
Yeah.
And that's what the sensor does.
So this is why pilots, when they're on the ground in the airfield, they take a note of the air pressure on the ground, because they know then that's the height that the ground is at. Yes, you don't want to go below that because it's not good for the plane or yourself. So we're collecting the baseline, so we're finding out where the floor is.
Yep.
Okay, currently.
Yeah, basically we're taking a pressure reading at the floor, then I'm going to lift it up onto the desk or maybe up here.
Okay, so that's
to see how the altitude changes when it finishes taking the baseline.
So that's it's a lot different to in a plane though. We're talking in like thousands of feet for a plane.
Yep.
But we're talking meters. We're talking about a metre off the floor.
Yep. I mean the data. Oh, here we go.
It's plain up because it's high.
Yeah, the data sheet says that it's got kind of a tolerance of plus or minus a metre.
Yeah.
But in my testing, it was actually more reliable than that.
It was. I can honestly say, because I sit like behind where Sandy sits, and I've just been kind of hearing all these like ooh, ooh, ooh. and as it kind of works, and he gets very pleased about it. So it was 33 when it was sat on the ground. Now it's 31 when you're holding it up there, which is about 2 meters different.
Yeah, metre and a half. Yeah, that's
Surprisingly sensitive.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Why was it minus 33?
I've no idea why they slid.
Bizarre calibration.
Yeah. Anyway, it was working.
It's very low pressure.
This room's really cold, so it might be that. But anyway,
Cold.
You get the idea. I'll just
get the idea.
I'll run the temperature and pressure example because that's good.
What temperature in yours.
Here we go. Ooh,
Cold. See, you didn't believe us that it's cold. Like it's 18 degrees. That's proper cold. Should we translate for the Americans?
And the pressure's gone up quite a lot. The other day when it was like a couple of days ago, it was at 995, I think.
Wow.
So it's really gone up in the past couple of days.
I'm going to try and see if I can find out what is 18 degrees in Fahrenheit.
Are you using a QNH value?
I'm going to guess like 60.
Oh, go on.
Wait.
I've got the answer.
70, I'll guess.
Oh no, 64.4 Fahrenheit. There we go. It's cold. It's proper cold. And we're freezing.
So yeah, that's a nice little sensor.
Yes. Cool.
Yep.
Want to show anything else with that one, or are we going to move on to the other one?
I think we'll do the spectrometer now.
Cool. Do you need to do any more setup, or should I go back to something else while you're doing that?
Can we get the close-up camera possibly on this one, Phil? On the little picture-in-picture one?
Possibly. So you want close-up and device?
Yeah.
So that's...
I don't know if... there we go.
That's close-up in frame. That's what we can get.
Can we get the terminal on the main one? Or is that not possible?
No, close-up.
No, okay.
Close-up.
Okay.
No, it's switching.
Fine. Anyway, let's go to close-up again.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so this is the other thing. So, Breakout Garden's good, but the breakouts have to be in the garden. Unless you get one of these nifty little extender kits that has, on this end, it's got...
it's an extension cable, you mean?
It's got the male bit that goes into the slot of garden, and it's got some male pins on it. And you can plug some female-to-female jumper jerky to that end, then slot it into the slot, and then on the other end, there is one of the Breakout Garden slots with more male pins, and you plug the other end of the jumper jerky in, and then you can extend the reach of it.
So we sell them like in packs of 3. You can get either end of the cable, or you can get both ends, if that makes sense. So you can get 3 of those socket ones. They've got names, haven't they? And I can never remember which names they are. But you get 3 of the socket ones and 3 of the pin ones. There we go, in the kit.
Yeah, these are the Breakout extenders, and the other one is the garden extenders. Because the garden extender goes on the garden.
And the Breakout extender goes on the Breakout.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
That also adapts a Breakout for a breadboard, just as a...
so you could jam that right in the breadboard, and then kind of,
That sounds painful.
You could use our Breakout Garden breakouts in a breadboard project with one of these, and they're available separately in a pack
you could put several of them in a row on a breadboard in theory, and they bust together.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you'd be hard pressed to stick them together on a breadboard unless you got a reasonably big one.
Well, you could try.
Right. Can we go back to terminal and big terminal and little us, please?
Big terminal, little us.
Big terminal, little us.
Yay.
Here we
Right.
go.
So let's have a look at the. Ooh, that's not working.
That's all right. I'm just thinking we need to adjust the angle of the camera as well, because we're all hunched over to try and get in shot. Quality is
Right.
just like, okay, more sleep.
I'm just physically holding myself up from the desk.
Okay.
Ooh. Which one are we going for?
So we're gonna go for the bar graph example.
Oh, I love this one.
So this is really cool. So we've got some wooden blocks here, and what I'm going to do is run this example, It's probably not going to work
Why?
because
because you're terminaling. You had it on display before, didn't you? We could describe what it does, and we could do a tiny little video and pop it up later. Okay? Would that work? No, Sandy's going to backup screen.
Yeah.
He's got us.
Right, can we go to close-up camera, Phil, please?
Mash buttons.
Okay.
Oh,
right.
whistling.
Business. Right.
Ah, cunning. You might need to zoom out a little bit.
What in the world is going on?
Basically, Sandy's going old school, so when you want to share your screen with somebody, clearly you just video your
That's the
screen.
point of camera at the monitor.
Yes. Oh, shall I zoom out so you don't have to kill everything?
That sounded painful.
Actually, I don't even know if that's the
Just
zoom.
chill. That's fine. We're
Okay, fine. I'll stop
done.
pressing things. And you can also see that I dropped my lunch on my trousers, so yeah. Oh well, it's fine. A little bit of hummus never hurt anybody.
Well, probably it's just not working.
Oh no.
Oh no, I know what it is. It's because
He needs to do a baseline. So, Sandy is looking for a baseline which is basically white, which should be all of the colours, so it's looking for. Yeah, is that right?
This is to calibrate the offset between what the sensor's reading and what output. LEDs. LEDs have their own characteristics that you're trying to subtract from the final
there we
measurement.
go. Ooh, little bar graph.
Oh yeah, I wrote this completely crazy spectrometer bar graph in Bash.
Why not?
Should get both on the camera. I might just set the baseline again because I think I did it a bit close.
Okay.
The last time.
So the bar graph is just using those 6 different colours it can detect, just showing you how much of each one it's detecting.
On your perfectly white sheet of paper.
On your perfectly white sheet of paper. On a perfectly white sheet of paper, all the bars should be the same. Shouldn't they? They should.
They should reflect the characteristics of the LEDs
There we
used
go.
to illuminate it.
So that's the white sheet of paper, so you can see all the bars are basically the same.
Yeah.
So that's after the baseline set. And then let's get our wooden block again.
Okay, so a yellow block.
They're quite reflective, these blocks, which I think is
Do my
the...
hair, do my hair.
Yeah, they tend to.
My hair's got all the colours in, we can try all the colours. I wasn't even joking, Sandy. I was like,
Oh, that's red. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
red.
You're
That's
saying
right.
I had to make the orange and yellow bars the same colour in this because there isn't a yellow.
isn't it?
No, there isn't a yellow tonal colour.
Oh, that sucks. You tried.
So frustrating.
Orange. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got red, orange, and yes, it's
quite red.
kind of reddish.
Do we do green?
Yeah,
No,
we should do green.
Oh,
It's a greeny blue.
Blue, that's interesting.
Bluey green.
I suppose the ambient light in the room's going to affect it as well.
Yeah, we've
quite
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 lights up. So
a blue block. Yeah, that's fairly
do
big.
my hair. You have to be closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Do my hair.
a good idea to stick the spectrometer into something like a paper cup that just will block the
Block the rest of the
light.
light. You can put your hand around it.
Still going to work? No, it's died.
You killed it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah, detects colours.
That's fine. Is that in our code library for people to download?
There is a library for this, yes.
Yes.
Shiny example.
So everybody can play with this.
And there's also just like a kind of what's the other one called? Spectrum, I think the other one's called. Let's try that. Spectrum. So, that's interesting.
You broke it.
So before it broke, it was just giving you the like raw numbers. Is that what the graphics were using?
Graphics are just visualising all numbers.
Yeah.
Live demos.
I like pictures.
There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
I think
Oh, standard form.
Yeah,
Bit maths as
dodgy,
well.
jump jerk happening.
as out of my big box of wires, which is basically anything that I found on the floor, and decided that it probably ought to go in the box. So that's you can definitely blame me.
Yeah, I think my jumper jerky is not behaving itself.
Oh dear.
Right. I'll just plug it straight in.
Okay, that also works. That means I have to put my head right next to it though. I cut my hair as well, so it's too short.
Yeah. Let's try red pen. Yeah.
Yeah?
Big numbers on the red and orange, yeah.
Oh, that autofocus is turning my eyes.
I don't know what to do. It's keeping your eyes awake. That's what it's doing.
So the plan for the next bit, how long have we been going for?
I don't know.
I wonder if we do the other bit another day maybe.
It might go off.
We've been like 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Yeah,
right,
we started late. It'll be fine.
Let's do it.
Can I?
5 minutes.
Right. So we're doing some science. While Sandy's getting set up, if you go back to the main doodad, just us, main camera. There we go. We found it. So so the cabbage, Babbage the cabbage, was actually for a reason. Babbage the cabbage. We spent a whole no expense spared here. We spent a whole 51p in Asda to buy a Yorkshire cabbage because everything from Yorkshire's great. Anyway, so we've got a Yorkshire cabbage and we chopped up some of it and boiled it in a pan and then chucked the cabbage away because we're healthy like that and kept the water. So this is cabbage water. If I can get a light behind it, it's even better.
You mix that with the salt, apparently it's a panacea.
It's a what?
Or is it a cure-all? Like if you mix that with tons and tons of salt and drink it, apparently
Don't drink it. Don't drink it. Just use it for science instead. So, oh gosh, that's really dark and gloopy. But it's basically the colour of...
Oh, it's like purple.
It's proper purpley, but we need a proper light to show you. I wish I'd put a proper light. I've used my phone torch. My phone torch is pathetic.
It's not shine through it, no?
No, everybody should shine. Everybody shine phone torch.
Just not do anything. You get a little dot.
No. Yeah.
If I swish it against the white background, you might see. But anyway, so it makes this kind of really bright purpley juice.
There you go.
Yeah, when you shake it, you can see. So it's proper bright purpley. And it's probably still got its cabbage in as well, but we'll just we'll not go with that. Anyway, but it behaves magnificently. Science.
Just realised I forgot something.
Go and get it.
Water.
Why do you need water?
It's a dilute suspension.
Just put the stuff straight into it, Sandy.
Will that work?
I don't know, but while Sandy's away,
This all looks very
steal
sciencey.
his stuff. Right, so shot glasses, totally very sciencey.
It's still very far away from this purple liquid.
No, it's not poisonous. It's cabbage. It's
I'm
basically
not worried about being
it
poisonous.
smells.
I'm worrying about being purple for the rest of the year.
Oh god, yeah, it'll stain quite badly. Not as much as beetroot though.
Not that I dislike purple as a colour, but
But anyway, so I was boiling this up, and now the whole building smells of cabbage. And with Sandy's wallpaper, it's basically someone's now house, isn't it? So I'm not going to drink this, but so it's purple liquid, purple liquid, purple liquid. Sandy's going to come back and go, and it does this thing, and I'm like, I've already done it while you're away. So, purpley liquid, and then, I wonder if you can put it on the down camera. Can you put it on the down camera? I see your Sandy's seat as well. Ooh, goodness me. Whoa, focus. There we are. So it's this very dark purpley colour. If you put stuff in it, stuff that you find in your kitchen or stuff that you find in your food cupboard, go back to the big one, then you can make it change colour. Just like my hair. My hair is not dyed with it, but you done now?
Yeah.
this is dividing tears. All this water.
Water and electronics. Yes. What's this, Sandy?
Right, we're all set. It's a pipette. It's a very fancy pipette. So when I used to work in the lab, this is what we use for doing things like DNA sequencing and stuff like that. And you get all different volumes down to like ones that take like volumes less than a microliter, so that's 1,000th of a
Microliter is 1,000th of...
1,000th of a...
Is 1,000th of a... Is that a micro? Oh, but did you run?
Yeah, I did run.
Oh, well done.
So basically, what happens is you get these pipette tips that are made of plastic. So this is a 1 ml pipette, or 1,000 microliters.
What is going on?
Sorry. Yeah.
There's bits in it.
Oh. So then basically there's like a little dial on it and there's a screw bit and you screw it up and down. And,
So basically it's a drippy thing.
It
but
changes the volume. So
it drips it and you can set how much it drips.
exactly. So if I stick this in here and then suck up some water, then it'll give me a ml of water when it's working back out.
I've made an obviously little purple one here.
Ooh, okay.
So
Well, we do.
Can I just have a bit of stuff? Can we make it do the thing? Can we make it do the thing? Can we?
Yeah, let's take a reading of
Tested this previously.
We've not tried this, so this is all completely.
I mean, we tried the
Take a
colour reading.
baseline of it purple and then get the offset from the baseline.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to measure some of it by itself, and then we're going to add different amounts of vinegar, or an amount of vinegar, and then dilute the vinegar down.
Are we making a homeopathic
by various amounts.
We're making homeopathic
what happens.
cabbage. It's the only way
So
anybody should ever eat
We've
it.
got a bottle of vinegar, so what I will do is. Do we have? We've got Sharpies, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Why did I get roped into all this science?
We could do the long one as a proper video, or we could just do a short one now where we just show people what it does.
So let's do.
I'm going to smell of cabbage and white vinegar.
It's going to smell of cabbage and vinegar. It's going to smell so good. So good.
Two.
I'm opening the vinegar over my lap.
It's going to end in tears.
Lay of danger. We're fine. We're fine. broke the tab off. The vinegar's still got a stopper in it.
The hole is enough of a hole to get vinegar out.
Yeah, this, yeah.
Plastic cup.
Can I have a, is there another cup I can have? Can I have this one?
Yes.
Good. Yeah. I'm having it now. Sorry, Phil, I'm pouring towards you now.
Keep your science away from me.
Now what you want to do is you want to do a few of these and just line them up on a bar and wait, or stand back and watch people. That's what you need to do. We're not advocating drinking if there's no children
How
watching.
drunk you need to be to
neck vinegar?
wrongfully neck a vinegar shot?
I don't know. I know people that can eat an onion like it's an apple. That's kind of, yeah.
This looks very scientific.
I think what somebody's doing is he's measuring out amounts of water so that some of these have got more water in than others, and so when we put cabbage stuff in, it's going to be more diluted. But he's counting, so I didn't ask him.
So basically what I'm doing is I am measuring 4 mils of water into cups. So I've got 5 cups, and cups 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm measuring 4 mils of water
Better be
into.
careful with that water sample. It's got every homeopathic remedy known to man in it.
Yeah.
At the strongest possible concentration, that stuff could be deadly.
Indeed. What's it? Dihydrogen monoxide. We're all gonna die. All gonna die.
So once I've done this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some vinegar. I'm going to put 5 mils of vinegar in the first cup, and then I'm going to take 1 mil out of that, put it into cup number 2, mix it up.
He really is making homeopathic remedies.
Take 1 mil. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's what people make homeopathic.
What's the name for this? Isn't there a scientific name for making procedural dilution?
It's called serial dilution. So that's 1 mil, 2, 3,
So
4. Of course, if you were doing this properly, you would be changing the tip every time
just
to avoid any
any
sort of carryover between them.
contamination or if there's a
sounds
drip left in it
glorious.
kind of thing. Okay. So if this works, this should make my hair colour as a rainbow. He's counting it.
So that's 1 mil going from the first one into the second one.
And then it goes mixed up.
And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of pipette it up and down a few times to mix it.
Very scientific. Your glass
this is literally how you would do it in a lab.
That's why he's wearing his safety glasses. Okay. I shouldn't be allowed to play with anything. Oh, my fingers smell now. They smell of cabbage earlier, and now they smell of vinegar. And no matter how many times you wash them.
Okay, so that's the dilution done.
Okay, let me move this out of the way, and then people can actually see your.
Yeah, I mean it's basically just like clear liquids now, so there's nothing very much to see.
No, I know, but you might want to see it after.
Yeah.
That's the pure doodad.
So it's stuff, right?
Pure cabbage.
So I'm not quite sure how much to add.
I diluted it so that it's more visible.
I think again I'll add a mil probably. Ooh, look at that.
And now pink. It's pink. See, we're starting at the top. And then in theory we should start going. Yeah, see, look, see, we're right here now. Live.
So, did you explain already what this is measuring the cabbage juice?
Not really. I just messed around while you were gone and just So see,
Well,
guys.
So the cabbage water is basically a pH indicator.
It's my hair. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a pH indicator solution. So pH is a kind of measure of the number of hydrogen ions in a solution, which is, and pH is a scale that goes from acid at 0 all the way up to something like water that's a neutral pH at 7, and then up above 7 is basically alkaline solutions, where there's more hydroxide ions than hydrogen. Water has equal numbers of hydroxide and hydrogen ions, so that's why there's a neutral pH, because they cancel each other out, the charge of the two ions. And more acidic things have more hydrogen ions than hydroxide, and alkaline things have more hydroxide than hydrogen.
So it basically changes how you see the colour of it, because it's changed the ions in it. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's a chemical reaction between the hydrogen ions and stuff in the indicator solution, basically. And you get different types of indicator. You get things like litmus paper is one that you probably used in school, which is a bit of paper that you can dip in solutions and it changes colour.
And universal indicator?
Yep, universal indicator, which I can't remember the...
That goes the whole rainbow, that one.
Various other ones.
So we've managed to get from a sort of red to a purple.
So, and what I'm hoping to do now is take readings of each of these with the spectrometer and then stick values on the spreadsheet and do a graph of them and see if it kind of gives us a straight line or not.
It's doing it.
Yeah, it's going to green.
We're going to have to stir it with the back end of a Sharpie, which is totally very scientific. There you go, look at that. Now we've got the end of my hair colour. You can't see it very well on there, so I'll put a bit of water in it.
To dilute it.
Water doesn't change it because water should be pH neutral. Oh, look at that. They're gorgeous.
Some greeny blue.
Sorry, I'm going to throw that at you.
I concur. Yeah.
Let me dilute some of it. Have you got a spare shot glass? It's my notepad.
You can use a proper, it's called a falcon tube, this one.
Or use your big...
Looks like something they give you at the doctors, but...
Oh, there you go, you can really see it.
Can you really see it when you pour it? Yeah.
It's cool, so... Yeah. So probably if you Google red cabbage pH or something like that and then look at the images, then you'll see the full scale.
Yeah. We're going to put up some instructions on how to make some as well. It's basically chop up cabbage, boil it, keep the liquid.
Let it cool.
Let it cool, yeah. That's pretty much it. Make it have a smell of cabbage. But now we've got all these beautiful colours. Look at that.
Well, we'll do some readings of this.
Yeah, let's do some readings. I'll keep your tube that we. The tube is going over there. Sorry, Sandy.
It looks like it's got a very high centre of gravity.
It does, doesn't it? Maybe I should hold the
Slide
tube.
into it.
But given my adventures with hummus at lunchtime, I don't think I should be allowed to basically do anything. I feel like I might accidentally drink it.
It should be perfectly safe to drink. There's not
Let's bicarbonate of soda and cabbage juice, basically. So.
very nice.
Can we get the tablet up, please?
It's be a really awful cake.
So big tablet swallows.
Let's go. Oh, big time.
Okay.
Yes. Didn't spill anything. No, that did not. Did not happen.
Yet.
Oh.
Ah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Everything's-
Dining Bill Shank problem.
Right.
Should be an improvement. Given currently it's just like
Right.
offboarding.
Okay. So what I've got is right. So I'm going to run the spectrum sample, and then I'm going to stick too many keyboards.
Sorry. Oh, Phil, don't laugh. All the bicarb goes everywhere.
Right. So let's take cup number 1. Can you write down some numbers?
Cup
Tanya?
number 1, I'm going to write down some numbers. Cup number 1.
Right. Can you press Control C on the keyboards, please?
Yeah.
Right. So just
Write down the last one.
If you write down all of the numbers, don't
Up
worry.
to the decimal
Don't,
point.
yeah, don't worry about decimal places.
It's like 50 digits here. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Can you press up and then enter?
Rerun the program then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then Control C again. Right, and write those numbers down.
That was 2. Phil, this is where you come in with like a lovely anecdote or something to keep people occupied while we're doing this.
Numbers are really good. You can use them to store things.
Right, Control C again.
Like words.
That was a thrilling anecdote, Phil. Thanks for that.
Something my brain can cope with at the moment. I've been programming.
Oh, I'm writing down digits at the same time and everything. Right.
What have you been programming, Phil?
We can always say.
It's a top secret.
If anyone wants to knock up some 40 pixel wide by arbitrary height images that animate LEDs, a little bit like Slice did, except different, you go for it, send them over, and I shall run them on the things that I have been creating.
The thing that you're not allowed to talk about. So tell them what the dimensions were again.
40 pixels wide.
40
Okay.
pixels by...
Arbitrary number of pixels high, and the height is the frame, so for each row of pixels that is frame, and the animation runs at 60 frames a second. So an image that's 60 pixels high by 40 pixels wide will animate 40 LEDs for 1 second. And these LEDs are built into something in groups of 4.
Groups of 4.
Loosely arranged in circles.
So we'll do this one separate, so this is not part of our dilution one, but
Yeah, I
just,
forgot to write down the last digit of the last one.
did you? Okay.
Yeah, never mind.
We'll do it again.
Okay. Do you want me to do that one that you just did though?
No, it doesn't really matter.
Alright then, go on.
Cool. Do you want to run it again?
Run it again. Data.
Cool. Yeah, Control C. Love jubbly.
Okay, there you go.
Right. So now, right, let's get the tablet up.
You got the keyboard for tablet or
I've just got the terminal full screen.
Oh, you-
I'll let you type them.
You'll let me type them in.
Yeah.
That is so kind of you. You are just amazingly kind. So, science beaches. Right. Okay, so what are we doing?
So make a red, orange, yellow, green, blue column.
Column?
Blue, violet.
I was going to do it the other way around.
Okay, I do that way. That's yeah. Doesn't really matter.
Red, Alright. You know, in theory, we should have really set this up beforehand. Shouldn't we, really?
Yeah.
Nothing more riveting than
What else can you tell people about? I mean, there's.
What else have I been doing?
We've got some new stickers.
This
I don't know how to communicate in vagaries that won't give away what we've been working on.
this poster isn't anything important.
Tell them about my stickers. The poster is not important. Do not. Oh, there we go. You can't see the poster at all. No, please look at the stickers. Use the down camera and do the stickers while I tuck these in.
I've been programming HIT, and
he hasn't put camera on. He's busy. Put us in the downward one.
What am I putting on?
Us in the downward camera and getting rid of the spreadsheet.
Okay. Oh, what have I done?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's it. So we've got new stickers.
By accident, at this point.
New stickers. I've been working on some new kits, which will be arriving when they arrive. Yeah.
I'm disappointed there's not a dead pixel in that image.
They let me loose with. There was a dead pixel in my original design, but yeah, they let me loose with designing some stickers, and so I'm afraid you've ended up with those. So there's the next lot of Primrose stickers. To be exclusively, I think, in the new kits when they are produced. I can't talk and do numbers. You two are just going to have to be interesting.
Different types of waves. Look at that. I love chip tune.
There's no room left on the back of my laptop.
I made a light wonk. Work. I commented
my font was different. I will tweet later. I will tweet the original hand-drawn designs.
Really frazzled-looking microbit there.
I love coding. We need to give Phil that sticker.
Yeah, that's not a microbit. Honestly, copyrightedness. It's a small microcontroller, Phil.
I'll have I commented my code because I always comment my code.
Put it on my phone case.
Well, I thought it was good to have some like reward stickers because grown-ups never get reward stickers. So these are like, you know, at least you can celebrate that you commented your code. What? Chip-tune.
You can personalise your Breakout garden.
I did stick them all over the back of the laptop. If you look, like this top lot here is all the stickers off that sheet. There's a serious amount of stickerage. I feel quite proud of it. I went to a conference yesterday about makerspaces as well, which was quite interesting. There's been a project by the University of Sheffield to get makerspaces into libraries, and they've been working with primary schools and doing very sort of little stuff for tiny kids, like 3 to 8 year olds. And there was some great stuff. And show them a magic wand. There you go.
That's what the magic wand was.
The magic wand. The magic wand was there. There was a chap came over from Holland called Mark Silito or Shillito. I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong. But he had one of these, and I was just like, this is amazing. So obviously had to make one. But it's a very simple construction. But the side with the copper on is the switch. Again, I will put a little how-to up because I've been going a little bit video crazy recently, and hopefully will actually fill the Primrose YouTube full of useful stuff, or sometimes just swittering.
Frivolous.
Yeah, and look at that! I typed in your numbers, and Anne's done talking. So anyway, it was an interesting conference, and there were loads of librarians there, which is a kind of group of people that I've not really crossed over very much with. So librarians becoming makers and runners of makerspaces was quite an interesting thing. So if you get a request from your local library, if you're a maker, please go along and help them and get them started if they're not already started, and just help out with it. That would be really cool. So I put the numbers in. Sandy is now frowning at them and doing something with them.
It's thinking it's so slow.
Not really sure what it is. Learn how to use the chart editor, it says. I think that was a subtle hint. And just for completeness, I did all the notes for those things in the right colours. Oh, you can't see because the stupid lights.
I think we've got our...
That's not bad.
Oh, that's right,
yeah. That's pretty good. Make it show. Show them.
We have a graph.
Look at that. That's pretty.
Has it got the colours?
You can basically see the...
No, the colours of the lines are not the colours of the the colours that you measured, the colours of the lines of the different cups.
You can see the violet increase and the red decrease.
So you can see like the orange line is at the bottom for the red, but it's at the top for the violet.
Yeah, if you
And
trace
then the
that
green's
line,
near
you
the
go-
top for the red, and lower down, I don't know. But basically you can see they're all different, and the spectrometer has measured them, and if we'd spend a long time taking more than one set of readings, as all scientists are supposed to do, at least three sets of readings, take an average of them, getting rid of any outliers, then we would have like some proper science. But this is pretty approximate science, and Sandy's made a really pointy graph there now. Let's ignore the pointy graph. But anyway, I think we ought to probably wrap it up before we like people's heads drop off from us just going, oh look, we've got some numbers, isn't it great?
I'll tidy these up and make a proper graph, and we'll tweet it.
It is actually showing a transition from the one that is reddish through to the one that is more violetish. Those being the most important.
If we still have anybody in the chat who hasn't like just keeled over and died, if there is anything else that you would like us to do, like investigate and stuff, and don't say get more of this on the shop because we're already working on that sort of thing. But any projects you think would be interesting, anything you want us to try out with the new sensors and stuff like that, ideas are always a good thing.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how do they get themselves some of these sweet stickers?
Sweet stickers.
Sweet, to be fair.
To be fair, they have been watching Bilge Tank, and I think that's we should probably reward them in some way for that. So send us a DM, whoever just asked for the stickers. Who's it?
Charles? Yeah, I know.
Charles, I suppose he can have some. He did build this epic crate thing at EMF. Really? Yeah, it had flamethrowers, and you could press buttons, and you could launch the flamethrowers.
Did you say flamethrowers?
Flamethrowers, yes. It had flamethrowers, and one of the buttons was like a horn as well, so you could go honk, and it flames, and honk, and it flames, and yeah, you can totally have
people in traffic jams secretly wish for.
Just
don't get me started.
You're picking the least vinegary one.
Just like you could possibly drink these actually.
No, you can't.
But don't drink science experiments.
You can't drink those ones because he's been using actual proper science equipment that we borrowed from an actual proper science lab, and we don't know what's been in it.
It's a chemistry lab though, so it's probably less dangerous than the biology lab.
Oh no, you can't, because it's been in that as well.
But technically, if the pipette had trace amounts of anything in, those solutions would now be the cure to that.
So, next week we're actually going to do a Bilge Tank again. We're going to force ourselves to actually do a Bilge Tank. It won't drag on for an hour because we've got so much to tell you.
Do we have something you'd like to show people next?
We're gonna do a special Bilge Tank possibly on Monday.
Yeah.
That's kind of Bilge Tank, but kind of not Bilge Tank. It's a live build of something.
Live build of something. So there'll be hopefully be a special on Monday. Pirate time, it may well be Tuesday. We'll definitely do a build on Thursday, even if we have no new things to show you, except we will have new things to show you. We will do Ask Me Anything or something, and we're going to do more videos, because if we do more videos and we get more things, I get a sofa. So the gauntlet has been laid down because I nap sometimes at work, and I wanted a sofa, and I've been told I can have a sofa if we do more videos. So do more videos because I really want a sofa. Should we say bye then?
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Press the button.
Sticking with us this
Phil,
long.
press the button. Press the button, Phil.